Elias Ward had always believed that silence was the truest companion a traveler could have. It never lied, never betrayed, never asked more than he could give. After years of moving from system to system, with nothing but the hum of engines and distant stars beside him, he had grown used to the quiet, almost protective of it. So when he returned to docking ring 7 on the 9 trade station, he expected everything to be exactly the same as he left it, still, dull, and empty. The wide metal corridor stretched out before him, lit only by flickering panels and the faint glow drifting in from the planet below. 9 was a world wrapped in endless amber storms, and its light made it feel like walking through the inside of a fatting sunset. Elias carried a crate of ration packs under one arm. He moved with tired steps, the kind a man earns after living most of his life between cold halls and forgotten airlocks. He was not old, not broken, but something inside him had grown quieter with each passing year. The galaxy could do that to a man, scrape away his noise until he left behind only a thin echo of who he used to be. He approached his ship, the Wayfarer's Light, a vessel that had been his home far longer than any planet. The ship rested on its landing struts like a loyal animal waiting for its owner, its metallic hull dulled by travel but still proud in shape. Elias paused a moment, letting himself appreciate its familiar silhouette. In a universe of unknowns, the Wayfarer's Light was the one thing that had never failed him. But something felt wrong. He couldn't explain it at first. The air around the ship seemed charged, like static waiting to jump. A faint hum trembled through the dock, too soft to be machinery, too alive to be imagination. Elias frowned. He was used to reading ships the way people read faces, and this one felt awake, alert, watching. He shook the thought off. Maybe the dock workers had run diagnostics while he was gone. Maybe a passing cruiser had disturbed the field sensors. Maybe he just needed sleep. He stepped onto the docking bridge, boots echoing lightly against the metal walkway. Then the airlock door of his ship slid open, smooth, quick, and far too early. Elias stopped mid-step. The ship never opened the door unless he triggered the panel. He knew every setting, every override, every code. Someone had changed something, or someone was inside. He placed the crate down quietly. His hand hovered near his holster, not grabbing it but close enough to find comfort. "Great," he muttered, "just what I needed today." The docking lights reflected in his dark eyes as he slowly entered the airlock. The door behind him sealed with a hushed, breath-like sound. Inside the corridor, the lighting was dim, almost atmospheric, the soft glow brushing the walls with muted blue tones. It should have been empty. Elias kept his steps silent, moving deeper into the ship he knew like the lines of his own hand. But when he turned the corner into the central passage, he froze as if his body had turned to stone. 5 figures stood there. 5 shapes he did not recognize. 5 beings, tall, slender, impossibly graceful, staring back at him with a mix of caution, strength, and something softer he could not name. They were unlike any crew he had ever seen. Their clothes were a blend of armor and organic material, with designs that flowed like living patterns. Their eyes, different colors, different shapes, held a shine like distant stars. They were aliens, and every single one of them was female. For a moment, Elias didn't breathe. His heart thudded slow but heavy, as though trying to decide whether to race in fear or stop in disbelief. The tallest one stepped forward. She had silver-blue skin that shimmered slightly with each movement, as though catching a light only she could see. Her hair, long and smooth, glowed faintly at the tips like frost beneath moonlight. She carried herself like a leader, strong posture, calm expression, quiet confidence. Her voice, when she spoke, was gentle but firm. "Elias Ward." He felt a chill run through him. "You know my name." "Yes," she replied. "We know much about you." He took a slow step back, instinct pushing him toward distance. "Who are you, and why are you on my ship?" The silver-skinned woman exchanged a glance with the others before answering. "My name is, and these are my crew." One by one, the others shifted slightly, not threateningly, but in acknowledgement. Their movements were remarkably fluid, almost like dancers adjusting to a new rhythm. Elias swallowed. "This is not your ship." tilted her head in a way that was both elegant and unsettling. "It is now." Those words cut through him like cold air. He wasn't angry. No, anger was loud. What he felt was quieter, more controlled, the kind of emotion shaped by years of being disappointed by the universe. "And what exactly does that mean?" he asked. Stepped closer, her expression neither cruel nor demanding. Instead, she looked tired, as if she carried the weight of something enormous. "It means," she said softly, "that we have taken control of the Wayfarer's light for a reason you will soon understand." Elias stared at them, these mysterious, sorrow-eyed women standing in his home, his safe place, his only constant in a drifting life. He felt the silence grow heavier around him. And slowly, painfully, he realized that nothing in the universe was ever truly quiet. Not anymore. Elias' heart still pounded as he watched the 5 alien women move through his ship. They did not touch anything roughly, yet every step seemed to claim the place as if it had always belonged to them. The metallic floor hummed beneath their weight, and even the familiar smell of the ship, engine oil, recycled air, and faint ozone, felt different, charged, alive. He had flown alone for years. The galaxy had taught him to trust only himself, to rely on no one but his own hands, his own instincts. Yet here were strangers, unfamiliar, alien, taking over the one place that felt like home. And somehow, he could not bring himself to stop them. Moved with a quiet authority, her silver-blue skin catching the faint lights as she gestured. "We mean no harm," she said softly, but Elias could hear the underlying urgency in her tone. "We only require the ship for a mission beyond your understanding." Elias swallowed. "You expect me to just let you take my ship because you say so?" His eyes, wide and honest, met his. "Because the fate of our world depends on it." His breath caught. He wanted to argue. He wanted to raise his voice. But even as he opened his mouth, he found the words tangled with something he had long forgotten: curiosity, awe, and a strange stirring of empathy. The smallest of the group, a winged being with soft, glowing fingers, stepped closer. She tilted her head, wings fluttering faintly as she studied him. "We have no other choice," she said. Her voice was light, almost musical, yet carried the weight of desperation. "Our planet's skis are dying, our forests are silent, we are running out of time." Elias blinked. "Your planet, you came all this way, why and why now?" "Because no one else would help," replied. Her gaze flicked to the glowing display panels of the ship, tracing the familiar curves of the console. "We sent requests, messages, pleas, they went unanswered, and now we had to act." He could feel the raw honesty in her words. It was not a lie. There was no trickery in her tone, no hidden threat, only a plea that weighed heavily on him. A part of him wanted to refuse, another part couldn't. Elias let his hands fall to his sides. "So, you're asking me to cooperate?" Shook her head gently. "Not asking, informing. You have the choice to resist, of course, but understand this, we are desperate. And the ship you see before you is uniquely capable of reaching the vault of nothing else can carry us there safely." He stared at her, the name strange, foreign, almost mythical. "Vault of what's there?" Lips parted as she took a slow breath. "Seeds, life itself. Our people's survival depends on one core that lies within its chambers. Without it, our planet will collapse. Entire civilizations will vanish." Elias' mind spun. The galaxy was cruel, yes, but it had never demanded this of him. Never asked him to carry the weight of an alien world on his shoulders. He looked at the 5 women, standing tall, unwavering, their strange and beautiful features reflecting determination, fear, and hope all at once. "And you expect me to help you?" he asked. His voice was hoarse, fragile. His eyes softened, glimmering like distant stars. "We hope, we ask, we trust." Elias swallowed hard. For a moment he remembered why he had chosen this life: freedom, solitude, control. He had been a lone traveler, drifting through stars that did not care whether he lived or died. And now, he was being asked to care for something far beyond himself. The thought was terrifying, and yet strangely thrilling. The winged alien, as had introduced her, moved to the console and gently touched it. The lights flickered and the ship seemed to respond to her touch. Elias frowned, stepping closer. "What are you doing?" Helping, she said simply, her glowing fingers tracing patterns he could not comprehend. The ship listens to us, but it listens to you too. Together we can make it fly faster, safer. Elias blinked. He had flown the ship through storms, asteroids, and pirate attacks, yet somehow these strangers understood it in ways he never had. He felt a strange mixture of jealousy and awe. Approached him slowly, careful to keep her distance. "We do not seek to replace you, Elias Ward," she said softly. "We need your knowledge, your skill. We need you to guide us." He looked around the ship at the women, the healer with petals for hair, the strategist with shifting scales, the quiet one with gills that fluttered in the recycled air. They were different, yes, but they were not enemies. They were survivors, desperate survivors reaching for hope. Elias exhaled, letting his shoulders relax slightly. "Fine," he said, voice low. "I'll help, but make no mistake, I'm still the captain while I'm on this ship. We do this my way." Lips curved in a faint, almost imperceptible smile. "We would not have it any other way." A quiet tension lifted slightly. The ship felt warmer now, like a reluctant friend easing into trust. Elias could feel the hum of the engines, the way the ship seemed to recognize the shift in his mood. It was not a surrender. It was an alliance, a fragile, uncertain bond forming in the heart of the stars. For the first time in years, Elias realized that the galaxy could surprise him, that even in solitude he could find connection, that even among strangers there could be trust. The silence of the docking ring felt different now, not empty, not lifeless, filled instead with possibility, with the fragile spark of something new. And as he looked at and her crew, Elias Ward understood one undeniable truth. The journey ahead would not be easy. The stars never were, but perhaps for the first time it would be shared. He swallowed, feeling the weight of responsibility settle over him. Not just for himself, not just for his ship, but for these alien lives that had somehow become entwined with his own. The galaxy had never asked him to care like this before, and yet he already knew he could not turn away. The Wayfarer's light hummed softly, as if agreeing. Elias Ward leaned against the railing of the central corridor, watching the alien crew adjust to the ship. Every movement they made was deliberate, careful, as if they were honoring the vessel itself. The Wayfarer's light had always been his alone, but now it felt alive with new energy. The engines vibrated softly beneath his feet, not just as machinery, but almost as if the ship recognized the presence of these strangers. Approached him, her silver-blue skin catching the lights above. "You wonder if you can trust us," she said softly. "We understand." Elias' jaw tightened. "I'm not used to this, to anyone depending on me or trusting me so quickly." She studied him for a moment, then nodded. "Then you will need to learn, quickly. We have no time for hesitation." He let out a low sigh, brushing a hand through his hair. Years of solitude had taught him control, patience, and the cold comfort of relying only on himself. He had flown through pirate ambushes, asteroid storms, and near-death encounters without a single partner. And yet, standing here, he felt something unfamiliar, a fragile sense of responsibility for these alien lives, each one holding their own stories, their own fears. The healer floated past with her soft, petal-like hair trailing behind her. Her hands glowed faintly as she ran a gentle scan of the ship's environmental systems. "All life aboard is healthy," she murmured, her voice soothing. "Except the human heart. It beats faster than normal." Elias blinked. "You can hear that?" he asked, half in disbelief. Nodded. "Your heart tells more than your words do. I can sense your hesitation, your doubt, but also your courage." The words struck him harder than any weapon ever could. He swallowed, feeling a warmth spreading across his chest. Courage had always been a private thing for him, something measured in solitude and survival. Never had it been recognized, acknowledged, or mirrored by anyone else. And yet here it was, reflected back by an alien being who had known nothing of him before this moment. The small, winged tinkerer darted past, her glowing fingers tracing circuits and controls with astonishing speed. Sparks flared lightly where she touched, but the ship did not complain. Elias frowned. "Careful," he warned. "Those systems are delicate." She paused and looked at him with wide, glowing eyes. "They respond to me. As much as they respond to you, we can work together." Elias crossed his arms. Together, that's a new idea for me. Smiled faintly, but there was no teasing in it, only understanding. Then consider this your first lesson in cooperation. You are not alone anymore, Elias. None of us are. He shook his head slightly, trying to shake off the sudden heaviness in his chest. I've spent years being alone, surviving on my own, and now I'm supposed to just trust you. You have always been a guide, said, stepping closer. Now you will guide us. The vault of is not easy to reach. There are dangers you have never seen, and without your skill, we would never survive the journey. Elias felt a chill at her words. He had faced pirates and storms, but the thought of navigating unknown dangers with beings he barely understood made the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. He realized then that this mission would not be a test of skill alone. It would be a test of trust, patience, and perhaps even his own heart. He walked toward the navigation bay, gesturing for the crew to follow. "Show me this vault," he said, "and I'll tell you how dangerous it really is." Nodded. "Follow me," she replied, leading the way. Every step she took seemed to carry weight, yet moved with elegance and purpose. Elias couldn't help but feel the contrast. Her world was dying, and yet here she stood, unbroken, commanding respect not through fear, but through determination and truth. In the navigation bay, the star map shimmered across a wide holographic display, dozens of systems glowing faintly like fireflies suspended in the dark, pointed to a dim red star near the edge of the galactic sector. "The vault is there," she said. "It holds the seed cores our people need to survive. Without them, everything we know will vanish." Elias frowned, scanning the map. "The vault is heavily guarded," he said. "The wardens control it. They don't allow anyone near it. You realize that, right?" The scaled strategist leaned closer to the map, her eyes flickering through shades of green and gold. "We know," she said. "We have studied their patterns for cycles. They are strict, relentless, but there is always a way." Elias shook his head. "You think you can outsmart them, outmaneuver them?" He looked at the 5 alien women, each so different, each so foreign. "This isn't a game. One mistake and everyone here dies." His gaze softened, but there was steel beneath it. "And yet here we are, alive because of you. We ask only for your guidance, your skill, and your courage. The rest we will provide ourselves." Elias' chest tightened. He had faced death many times before, but this felt heavier. The lives of an entire species resting in the balance depending on his choices. He swallowed, his mind racing through years of experience, survival, and instinct. Finally, he nodded slowly. "Fine," he said, voice low but firm. "I'll help, but understand this, we succeed together or we fail together. No heroics, no solo stunts. Everyone survives or no one does." His eyes glimmered with gratitude. "Agreed, together, Elias Ward, we will face this as one." As they began to plan the course, his fingers danced across the console, recalibrating engines and shields. Monitored life support, calculated trajectories, and coordinated each action with quiet authority. Elias watched them work, feeling a strange warmth in his chest. The first time in years he felt connected to someone or something beyond himself. For the first time in a long while, Elias realized that this journey was not just about survival. It was about trust, about hope, and about the fragile power of alliances in the cold, indifferent galaxy. And as the wayfarer's light prepared to depart from 9, Elias understood that the road ahead would be dangerous, uncertain, and filled with choices that could change everything. Yet for the first time in years, he did not feel alone. For the first time, he felt like a part of something larger than himself, a reluctant alliance, fragile but undeniable, that might just survive the stars. Elias Ward sat in the captain's chair, gripping the armrests as the stars outside blurred into streaks of white and blue. The ship hummed beneath him, a living heartbeat of metal and energy. He had navigated treacherous asteroid belts, pirate ambushes, and ion storms before, but nothing had prepared him for this, the Storm Gate. The Storm Gate was a violent anomaly at the edge of their mapped sector, a swirling vortex of lightning and plasma, its surface roiling like an angry sea. Few ships dared approach it, and even fewer survived the crossing. The galaxy whispered stories of vessels shredded in moments, crews lost to the chaos of its energy walls. And now, Elias was expected to fly straight through it, not alone, but with 5 alien women depending on him. stood behind him, her silver-blue skin reflecting the dim lights of the cockpit. Her gaze was steady, but her shoulders carried tension that Elias could see even from this distance. "You know what is at stake," she said softly. "The vault is on the other side. Our world waits." He exhaled slowly, gripping the controls. "I know, but the storm gate isn't forgiving. One wrong move and we're done. Everyone gone." Floated near the life support panel, her petals quivering. "Fear does not change the wind," she murmured. "Control yourself. Focus on the path ahead." Elias nodded, drawing in a deep breath. It was easier said than done. The swirling vortex outside the viewport was mesmerizing and terrifying all at once. Blue lightning arced across the storm walls, striking invisible surfaces, and a deep, vibrating hum filled the air. The entire ship seemed to shiver in response. Wings fluttered nervously behind him, glowing fingers tracing the auxiliary controls. "The shields are at maximum," she said, "but they might not hold against the turbulence. You'll need to steer carefully, human." "Thanks," Elias muttered, his voice tight. "I already know that." The strategist crouched by the navigation console, her scaled eyes shifting colors rapidly as she scanned the swirling patterns of the storm. "The currents are unpredictable," she said. "We can anticipate small windows of calm, but they will be brief." Elias swallowed hard. He had always relied on instincts, but this required more than instinct: precision, timing, and a fragile touch with the ship's controls. Placed a hand on the console beside him, close but not touching his. "We trust you," she said softly. "I believe in your skill." Elias froze for a fraction of a second. Trust. It had been years since anyone had trusted him, truly. The word felt heavy in his chest, yet comforting at the same time. "I won't let you down," he muttered, almost to himself. The ship's engines roared to life as he powered up for the crossing. Every panel glowed with energy, the hum of the engines blending with the violent song of the storm outside. The viewports trembled with each pulse of lightning, casting flickering shadows across the faces of the alien crew. "Steady," Elias whispered, leaning forward. "Stay calm, eyes on the path." The storm gate loomed larger. Its walls twisted like ribbons of electricity, blue arcs striking like serpents in a frenzy. The air felt thick, almost solid, as though the ship itself was fighting against an invisible tide. Elias' hands flew across the controls, adjusting shields, thrust, and trajectory in a delicate dance. "Hold on," he shouted as a bolt of lightning struck dangerously close, rocking the ship violently. Clung to the railing, wings quivering. "We're going to break apart," she yelled, her glowing fingers gripping the console tightly. "Not if I can help it," Elias replied, forcing a grin he did not feel. Sweat ran down his temple as the ship spun, dodged, and weaved through the roaring currents of the storm gate. Reached out and touched his shoulder lightly, petals brushing against his arm. "Your heart is afraid," she said softly, almost in a whisper. "But it beats with courage. You will guide us through." Elias swallowed hard. Her words struck deeper than any warning or instruction. Courage. He had forgotten what it felt like to truly fight not just for himself, but for others. And yet here he was, steering the ship through chaos, carrying the lives of these 5 women and the hope of an entire world. Lightning struck again, closer this time, illuminating the cockpit in blinding flashes. The ship shuddered violently, alarms blaring, lights flickering. "Brace yourselves," Elias shouted. The crew tightened their grips on whatever they could hold, faces pale but determined. For several tense minutes, the ship danced with the storm, every movement precise, every second measured. Elias could feel the engines straining, the shields bending to the energy around them. Time seemed to stretch, each heartbeat echoing in the confined space of the cockpit. Then suddenly, the turbulence shifted. A narrow pocket of calm opened in the storm, and Elias pushed the engines forward, gliding through the energy like a stone skipping across water. The roar of the storm began to fade behind them, and the ship's systems stabilized. The crew exhaled as one. Evan's wings drooped in relief, glowing fingers still trembling, smiled softly, brushing a petal against Elias' arm. "You carried us through," she said. "The storm could not break you." His eyes glimmered with admiration. "You carry storms inside you, human," she said quietly, her voice almost reverent. "But you never let them win." Elias leaned back in his chair, chest heaving. He had faced countless dangers in his life, but this was different. This was not about skill alone. It was about courage, trust, and something deeper, a connection that reached beyond species, beyond stars, beyond anything he had known before. For the first time in years, Elias felt truly alive. And as the wayfarer's light emerged from the storm gate, the calm ahead sparkling with distant suns, he knew that the journey was only beginning. Beyond the gate lay the vault of, a place of danger, mystery, and hope. And Elias understood in that quiet moment of relief that he would not face it alone. Together, human and alien, they would chart a path through the stars, whatever it took. The vault floated ahead of them like a sleeping giant, orbiting a dying star that cast pale, amber light across its surface. Elias Ward leaned forward in the captain's chair, eyes tracing the massive structure. It was unlike anything he had ever seen, towering spires of bronze and silver, covered with glowing runes that pulsed like a heartbeat. The station itself seemed alive, aware of their approach, and the deeper he looked, the heavier the tension in the cockpit became. Stood beside him, her gaze locked on the vault. "There it is," she said softly, voice almost a whisper. "The seed core awaits inside. Without it, our world will end." Elias swallowed hard. He had flown through storms, dodged asteroid swarms, and survived ambushes, but the weight of what lay ahead pressed on him differently. This was not just survival. This was life itself, and not theirs alone. Entire species depended on their success. Crouched over the navigation console, her shifting scales reflecting the light from the vault. "The wardens control the vault," she said. "Their defenses are formidable. Automated turrets, energy barriers, and patrol drones. They allow no unauthorized vessels near the seed core." Glowing fingers danced across auxiliary panels. "We can't outrun them if they attack," she muttered nervously. "We'll need precision. Every move must count." Elias nodded slowly. "So we don't sneak past them, we negotiate, or we fight. There's no room for mistakes." Floated beside him, petals quivering gently. "Sometimes courage is not the absence of fear," she said softly, "but the choice to act despite it." Elias felt her words sink deep. For the first time in years, he realized that courage alone would not save them. They would need trust, strategy, and the fragile bond forming among this strange crew. The Warden's ships appeared before them, sleek and sharp, cutting through space with lethal precision. Their sensors locked onto the wayfarer's light, and a cold, robotic voice echoed through the comm system. "Unauthorized vessel detected. Depart immediately or be destroyed." Shoulders stiffened. "They will not listen," she whispered, her voice heavy with worry. "They never do." Elias leaned forward, gripping the controls. "Then we make them see. Calm, controlled, no sudden moves. We show them we mean no harm." He opened the comm channel. His voice was steady, but his heart pounded in his chest. "This is Elias Ward. I request peaceful entry. We seek only one seed core for an endangered world, nothing else." Silence answered him. Then, cold and unyielding, the Wardens replied. "Unauthorized, turn back now or face destruction." Hissed softly, "They do not hear reason." Lips trembled, "Then we will make them see." Elias' mind raced. Fighting the Wardens was dangerous, but negotiating had already failed. They could not outgun the automated systems or evade the patrols without extreme risk. One misstep, one miscalculation, and the entire crew would be lost. A sudden alert flashed across the cockpit. Incoming Warden fighters, attack vectors established. Wings fluttered nervously. "We're surrounded," she muttered. "We can't outrun them." Elias clenched the armrests. "Then we don't run, we hold long enough to make them understand." Stepped forward, placing her hand on the console beside him. "We trust you," she said quietly. Her voice carried something Elias had not expected, faith. Complete, unwavering faith in his skill, his judgment, and his courage. He felt a surge of determination. "Then let's do it," he whispered to himself. "Whatever it takes." The first blast struck the shields with deafening force, making the ship shudder violently. Sparks flew across the panels as warning alarms screamed. The Warden's targeting systems were precise, unyielding. Elias twisted the controls, dodging and weaving, firing countermeasures with every calculated move. Reached out, her petals brushing against the controls, aiding the ship with her bioenergy. "Hold steady," she said, voice soft but firm. "We are with you." Coordinated the crew, giving orders that flowed like water. Reroute auxiliary power to shields, calculate escape vectors, keep us alive. The ship groaned under the pressure, engines whining, shields flickering. Lightning from the dying star above reflected across the cockpit, illuminating every tense, determined face. Elias could feel the storm of fear, hope, and determination pulsing through the vessel. Minutes felt like hours as they fought their way closer to the vault. One Warden fighter struck the left wing, sending alarms blaring, cried out but quickly worked to stabilize the systems. Scales darkened with focus as she recalculated their trajectory in real time. His voice cut through the chaos. "Almost there, focus on the path, we cannot fail." Elias felt sweat run down his temple. His hands were steady, his mind sharp, but inside his chest felt heavy. Every choice carried the weight of life and death, not just for himself, but for these alien women and the countless lives depending on the seed core. Then, as the shields held against one final, devastating blast, the Warden fleet hesitated. Something about their movement changed. Elias' stomach twisted. He did not yet understand why, but he felt the shift. The Wardens were watching, calculating, and perhaps respecting the courage of a single human and his crew. The vault's entrance loomed closer, massive and ornate, glowing with the ancient pulse of the seed core within. Elias' heart pounded in synchrony with the ship. They had made it this far, alive, battered, but not broken. His eyes glimmered with a mix of relief and determination. "We are close," she said softly. "Prepare yourselves. What happens inside may be harder than anything we faced out here." Elias exhaled, feeling a mixture of exhaustion and anticipation. He had flown through storms, negotiated with aliens, and faced a hostile fleet, but nothing could have prepared him for what lay ahead. For the first time in his life, Elias realized that this journey was bigger than him, bigger than survival. It was about hope, trust, and the courage to carry a future not his own. And as the wayfarer's light approached the vault of battered but unbroken, Elias understood one undeniable truth. They were about to step into a world where every choice would matter, and every second could change the fate of a planet. The hatch of the vault loomed above them, vast and humming with an energy that made the hairs on Elias' arms stand on end. The wayfarer's light had docked with precision, but the moment they crossed the threshold, a strange warmth and pulse filled the air. It was alive, almost breathing. Elias glanced at the alien crew, each face a mixture of awe and determination. Stepped forward, her silver-blue skin glowing faintly under the vault's light. "Inside," she said softly, "lies the seed core. We must move carefully. Its guardians will test anyone who seeks it." Elias swallowed, gripping the rail as he followed them through the wide corridor. The walls pulsed faintly, veins of glowing energy tracing unknown patterns. Each step echoed in the vault as though the building itself was aware of their presence. He had faced storms, pirates, and hostile fleets, but this was something different. The air was alive with tension, and every heartbeat seemed to amplify the feeling of destiny pressing down on them. Fluttering slightly behind, whispered, "It's beautiful and terrifying." Her glowing wings reflected the energy patterns above them, casting dancing shadows on the floor. Ever the strategist scanned the path ahead. "We are not alone," she said quietly. "Sensors detect multiple automated guardians. They will strike on sight." Elias' chest tightened. "Then we prepare to fight," he muttered. "Together, no mistakes, no hesitation." His petals shimmered softly. "Sometimes fighting is not enough," she said. "We must also understand." Led the crew into a vast chamber, the center dominated by the seed core. It floated, suspended in a sphere of shimmering light, its golden glow illuminating the entire hall. Elias' breath caught. He had flown past countless wonders in the galaxy, but nothing matched this, the pure, vibrant essence of life, fragile yet powerful. A low hum vibrated through the chamber. Guardians emerged, tall, sleek figures of silver and bronze, eyes glowing, moving with precision. Their weapons were strange energy constructs, flickering and sharp, yet the air seemed to bend around them like water. Elias instinctively stepped in front of the crew. "Stay close," he ordered. "Don't panic, we move as one." The first Guardian advanced. Elias' hands moved quickly over his weapon systems, targeting and firing carefully. The energy bolt struck the Guardian, but it did not falter, its movements fluid, almost effortless. And her crew leapt into action, projected a soft, protective energy around Elias, shielding him from the Guardian's counterattack. Calculated angles and timing, directing the crew to avoid the most dangerous attacks. Darted between controls, adjusting power and firing auxiliary weapons with astonishing precision. Elias felt a strange sensation, a combination of fear and exhilaration. He had fought alone countless times, but never like this. Never with others relying on him, trusting him with their lives. A Guardian lunged at him directly. He fired, but it dodged, striking the ship's floor with a blast that shook the entire chamber. Sparks flew, and Elias stumbled backward, heart-hammering. Stepped in front of him. "You cannot do this alone," she said firmly, her glowing eyes meeting his. "Let us fight with you." He hesitated, then nodded. Trust, that fragile, terrifying concept. He had relied on his skill for so long, but now he had to rely on them too. Together, they struck with coordination, combining human reflexes with alien abilities. For several tense moments, the chamber became a dance of light and energy. Guardians struck, the crew countered, and Elias felt the pulse of the vault beneath his feet, almost urging him forward. Each successful maneuver strengthened his confidence. Each near miss reminded him of the stakes. Then a blast hit the floor near. She cried out as her wings faltered, her glowing energy dimming. Elias reacted instantly, catching her before she fell. Quickly reinforced the shield around them, stabilizing her. Elias' chest heaved. "You okay?" he asked. Nodded weakly. "Thanks, we can't fail." He looked around. Every member of the crew bore the marks of strain and effort. Sweat, exhaustion, but determination shone in their eyes. Elias realized then that courage was not just his. It was theirs too, shared and fragile like the seed core itself. Finally, after a tense and grueling struggle, the Guardians hesitated. Their movements slowed. Elias sensed it. The vault recognized their unity, their courage, their determination. It was not just a machine of defense. It was alive, judging the worth of those who dared seek the seed core. Stepped forward, eyes locked on the glowing sphere. "We are worthy," she whispered, her hand trembling slightly. Elias felt a pulse through the floor as the sphere shifted, lowering slowly toward them. His voice was soft, almost in awe. "It accepts us." Elias exhaled deeply, relief flooding through him. They had reached the heart of the vault, survived its guardians, and now held the future of an entire world in their hands. Turned to him, gratitude shining in her eyes. "We could not have done this without you, Elias Ward." He shook his head, voice quiet. "No, we did this together, all of us." For the first time in years, Elias felt something he had thought lost: connection, trust, and hope. He realized that this journey had changed him as much as it had changed the alien crew. He had always believed in surviving alone, in relying only on himself. Now he understood that survival could also mean courage shared, hearts intertwined, and trust given even when fear ran deep. The seed core hovered before them, golden light bathing the chamber, a fragile promise of life and hope. Elias and the crew stood together, battered but unbroken, ready to carry it back into the galaxy. And for the first time, Elias felt truly part of something larger than himself. A family forged not by blood, but by courage, trust, and the shared weight of the stars. Elias Ward gripped the controls as the Wayfarer's light rose from the vault of the golden seed core secured in the hold. The engines hummed with steady power, a comforting reminder of the ship's resilience and his own. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, indifferent and vast, but Elias felt a warmth he had not known in years. He was not alone. He was part of something greater. Stood beside him, her silver-blue skin glowing faintly in the dim cockpit light. "The journey home will not be easy," she said softly, her voice carrying both determination and weariness. "The wardens may pursue us. We have succeeded, but danger still lurks." Elias nodded. I know, but we've survived worse. Together we can face anything. Hovered near the auxiliary controls, wings still trembling but glowing with renewed energy. I never thought I could feel hope like this, she murmured. Not just for me or my people, but for all of us. Petals shimmered softly, brushing the console. Courage shared grows stronger, she said. You Elias taught us that. Scales shifted to bright green as she plotted their course. The path is clear. We can avoid patrols and return safely to our world. Elias exhaled deeply, finally letting the tension ease from his shoulders. For the first time in weeks, he allowed himself a moment of reflection. The galaxy had always been cruel, indifferent, and lonely. But now, he had learned that even in the vast, unfeeling expanse of space, connection could exist. Trust, courage, and unity were stronger than any storm, stronger than fear itself. He glanced at, I never imagined I would find a crew like this, he said quietly, or that I would care so deeply for lives that aren't my own. She smiled faintly, her eyes glimmering with something he could not name, gratitude, respect, maybe even hope. And yet here you are, she said, proving that humans are capable of great courage and compassion. Elias felt warmth spread through his chest. He had always believed in survival, in self-reliance, in solitude. But now he understood that survival could also mean connection, partnership, and shared purpose. The galaxy was no longer just a place of danger and distance. It could be a place of trust, of bonds that transcended species, of hope that burned brighter than any star. As they approached hyperspace, the golden seed core pulsed gently in its containment field, like a heartbeat echoing across the ship. Elias ran his hand over the console, feeling the hum of life within the vessel, life they had fought so hard to protect. His voice broke the quiet, filled with both reverence and relief. We will return home, Elias. Your skill saved us, your courage gave us a chance, and your heart gave us hope. Elias swallowed, emotion tightening in his throat. We did it together, all of us. This isn't just my victory, it's yours, theirs, ours. His wings fluttered gently, the glow brightening. I never imagined humans could inspire this, she said softly. You've shown us strength and something more, the heart to carry it. His petals brushed lightly against his arm. Sometimes the smallest actions, the quietest courage change everything, she said. You reminded us that hope is worth fighting for. Elias exhaled slowly, finally allowing himself a smile. For years, he had drifted alone among the stars, carrying only himself and his ship. But now, surrounded by beings so different, yet so united in purpose, he realized something profound. Humanity, with all its flaws and fears, could shine brightly even across galaxies. His gaze remained focused on the ahead, her voice calm but resolute. We have the seed core. We have survived the wardens. Our world will live because of this. Elias nodded, feeling a quiet pride swell in his chest. He had faced storms, hostile fleets, and alien guardians, but none of it compared to this. The knowledge that lives depended on him, and that he had risen to the challenge. As the stars stretched into streaks of light in hyperspace, Elias allowed himself a thought he had long avoided. Maybe he could trust, maybe he could belong, and maybe the galaxy was not as lonely as he had believed. Turned to him, her voice gentle. We owe you more than we can express, Elias Ward. You are a light across the stars, not just for us, but for everyone who believes in hope. Elias smiled, a slow, genuine smile that reached his eyes. We are all lights, he said softly. Humans, aliens together, we shine brighter when we face the darkness as one. The ship hummed softly beneath them, carrying the crew and the precious seed core through the vast expanse of space. Each pulse of the engines, each shimmer of starlight on the hull felt like a heartbeat, a rhythm of life, hope, and unity. Elias leaned back, allowing himself to finally relax. He looked at his crew, at the alien faces illuminated by the gentle glow of the seed core, and understood something profound. The galaxy was vast, indifferent, and often dangerous. But courage, trust, and connection could carve paths through even the coldest voids. And in that moment, Elias Ward realized that he had not only survived the journey, he had changed, grown, and discovered a truth the galaxy could not deny. Humanity, at its best, could shine across the stars, inspiring hope, unity, and courage in even the most alien of hearts. The Wayfarer's light surged forward, carrying its crew, their fragile hope, and a promise of life to a distant world. The stars streaked past like rivers of light, and for the first time in a long time, Elias allowed himself to feel something he had almost forgotten: belonging. Together, human and alien, they would bring life back to a dying world, proving that courage, trust, and unity were forces no storm, no enemy, and no darkness could ever overcome. And as the galaxy stretched endlessly before them, Elias whispered to himself, heart full and resolute, "We are not alone, not anymore.